the basements and shuttered one terminal at LaGuardia Airport for several hours. This is SRN News.
WTBN Pinellas Park, WTWD Plant City, WLCC Brandon.
Faith Talk Tampa, online at letstalkfaith.com. Download the Faith Talk Tampa app.
Evangelist Franklin Graham is on his way to Germany.
The popular evangelist is preparing for a gospel festival in the city of Essen on October 7th. Graham says he is, quote, coming to preach hope, the hope that we have in Jesus Christ, that he died and shed his blood for our sins. 2023 has been a busy one for the leader of the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association, but he's not done traveling yet. After Essen, Graham will begin preparations for a 2-day festival in Rome in November. Michael Harrington, SRN News.
An overwhelming majority of young adults remain skeptical about tying the knot. 2 out of every 5 millennials and Gen Zers consider marriage an outdated tradition and do not believe it's necessary to experience a fulfilled and committed relationship. Meanwhile, certain cities in the U.S. are witnessing a surge in unmarried couples living together. The top 3 cities leading in that trend are Toledo, Seattle, and Spokane, Washington. This is SRN News. Footage from beneath the Pacific Ocean shows 3 of the aircraft carriers destroyed during the World War II Battle of Midway.
Remote submersibles operating 3 miles below the surface this month showed the Akagi and Kaga, 2 of Japan's 4 aircraft carriers sunk during the June 1942 battle. It also shows the USS Yorktown revealing its damage from extremely high heat and how the crew tried to save the ship. One of the last surviving U.S. sailors, Julian Hodges, at age 100, teared up as he watched the online streaming presentation of the video, saying, I just hated to see my ship torn up like that. George Williams reporting.
The Navy issuing written reprimands to 3 now retired military officers for their roles in the spill of jet fuel into Pearl Harbor's drinking water back in 2021. The Sierra Club of Hawaii is criticizing the reprimands for being, quote, written slaps on the wrist. More details at srnnews.com.
The following program is sponsored by the law offices of Patrick L. Smith. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. Get ready with your legal questions and call Patrick now. 877-943-9673. Again, that's 877-943-9673. The law office is open. And now your host, Patrick Smith.
Good morning, Florida. Back with you again this kind of overcast Saturday morning. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show, and I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith, your local Central Florida attorney. You can reach out now. The law office is open. We're here to help. Any legal questions at all, you can give us a call now, 877-943-9673. Again, that toll-free line for your one-stop shop for all things legal. You have a legal question that came up during the week, you can call in now and get free legal advice. 877-943-9673. 877-943-9673. Usual cast and crew here today, including Yumiko, the producer, Jose standing by to screen your calls. You can give us a call now and be part of the show. 877-943-9673. Give us a call or email your question directly to me, Patrick at attorneypatricksmith.com. Patrick at attorneypatricksmith.com. And I was just telling my wife last night, I said, I'm always blown away by the number of emails and phone calls, how many of you actually are out there listening to the show. So again, thank you for your faithful listenership to the show. That's why we do it. You, the listener who tune in every week to get your legal questions answered and hear us discuss various legal topics in between the calls. So, but our favorite part is talking to you. So give us a call now, 877-943-9673, 877-943-9673, your toll-free line. So today we're going to talk about scams. For those of you who are regular listeners to the show, this is the 3rd time that we've done a show on scams. And every time, I feel like we just touched the tip of the iceberg when it comes to scams. So just do an all call. In addition to all the other legal questions that want to come in, if you know of a new scam that's going on, if you've been the victim of a scam, or if you're really brazen, if you're the scammer and you want to call in, we'd love to talk to you. We have some questions. So 877-943-9673, 877-943-9673. And there's lots of different types of scams, and they take on all kinds of different shapes and sizes. So I thought there needs to be a way to sort of laymanize scams into categories for Floridians. So I thought, what better way to help Floridians understand scams than to do a straight Cat 1 through 5? Because if there's one category analysis we understand in Florida, under the the frequent threats of hurricanes, we get this rating system. So category 1 scams, we'll call them. These are usually straight ask scams. There's not a lot of scam as far as effort or deception on the part of the scam artist. It's really just a straight ask. It's usually for something false, like a fake charity or something like that. But they're just outright asking for your money. So they are just asking you to hand it over without any real level of deception, other than lying to you as to why it's being handed over. Category 2, a little more deceptive. Here we'll see usually some fear or intimidation into handing over the funds. This may usually relate to a debt that you've owed for a long time, and it may still be going on. There's the tax scam going around. People getting calls saying, hey, you owe money. It's tens of thousands of dollars. But right now, our daily special, if you give us your credit card, we can settle it for a much lower amount. And so there's a fear and intimidation factor. And it's a little more personal because it's relating to the fact that you owe taxes, because most people in the United States pay some sort of federal income tax. So it's relatable. It's a blanket way to be a little more personal without having to put too much additional effort into the scam. Category 3. Now, you'll not only see the fear factor here, but there's going to be more particular kind of detail about your life. It may be something about a purchase you've made. It may be about a refund you were expecting. It'll be something that's tethered to the truth of you, something related to you, a home purchase, auto purchase. It'll sound somewhat legitimate or adjacent to something you've done recently. So you will think it has some validity, and you'll think it's something that needs to be paid or needs to be addressed. You see these a lot of times when people file things in the public record, especially with regard to deeds or corporate entities. They'll get solicitations, and a lot of times it's a situation where it is something that you don't necessarily need to do, but it appears as if it's something that you need to do. So at the end of the day, this would be something a little more personal to you, as opposed to something as blanket as federal income tax. So like I said, something specific to some particular fact in your recent financial history. Category 4, this is going to be very personal. And this is when they will start making particular mention of family and friends. For a while, the scam going around here was the "we're stuck in Europe" scam. We need help. Our luggage was stolen scam. I actually got an email like this about a family friend who was traveling abroad. And it said, hey, we just got here. Our luggage was stolen. Went to an internet cafe, have no cell phone, was able to get on to send this email. Need you to send some money to help me out. I had the foresight to shoot a text. They said, yeah, we're fine. We got our cell phones. And I said, well, you may want to let everyone know in your email list, because we're probably not the only ones that got this email. And sure enough, there were people lining up to hand over money to the scam artist. And that's because they made particular references to the trip and to the people's names and to certain former communications in the email. So obviously a much deeper dive into the data regarding that particular person, and therefore weaponizing them to be much more convincing in the scam. And Category 5. Category 5 is where it is involving artificial intelligence. And this is the most avant-garde part of scams as it relates to modern day scam artists. According to the Federal Trade Commission, here's the facts. You get a call. There's a panicked voice on the line. It's your grandson. He says he's in deep trouble. He wrecked the car, landed in jail, but you can help by sending money. You take a deep breath. You've heard about grandparent scams, but darn, it sounds just like him. How could it be a scam? It's voice cloning. That's how. Artificial intelligence is no longer a far-fetched idea out of sci-fi movies. We're living with it here and now. The article goes on to say, a scammer could use AI to clone the voice of your loved one. All he needs is a short audio clip of your family member's voice, which he could get from content posted online. A voice cloning program can capture that data. When the scammer calls you, he'll sound just like your loved one. So this is why it's Category 5, folks. This is the highest level of deception. They are actually using a family member's voice and weaponizing that against you in the scam. So how can you tell if a family member is in trouble or if it's a scammer using a person who supposedly contacted to verify the story? So kind of like what I did with the email scam that we got, that category 4 situation we dealt with. I just reached out directly to the person, got a response, and of course that dispelled the scam. Use a phone number you know is theirs, the article says. If you can't reach your loved one, try to get in touch with them through another family member or their friends. In other words, don't just hand over the money immediately. Scammers ask you to pay or send money in ways that make it hard to get your money back. If the caller says wire money, cryptocurrency, buy a gift card, and give them card numbers and pins, these could be signs of a scam. That all according to the Federal Trade Commission Consumer Alert. So there you go, your category 1 through 5 scams in the state of Florida, but really focusing on making aware of not offering up your voice. And a lot of times that's why people are dialing back on social media now, artificial intelligence. I've also heard rumor in some radio contracts for on-air talent, there is language about capturing your voice and being able to use your voice in perpetuity. I've heard that thrown around, and it's a subject of controversy amongst radio personalities. So AI kind of being weaponized in a negative way here in regards to scams. So 877-943-9673. That's your live and local number to be part of today's show. 877-943-9673. I'm Attorney Patrick Smith, and this is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. You can call in now with your legal question on any topic, or if you want to talk about scams. And like I said, if you've been scammed, we'd love to hear and for you to tell your story as a cautionary tale to everyone else out there who's listening. All right, let's go to Davenport and let's talk to Esther. Esther, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Thank you very much, and thank you for all you do.
Well, thank you, Esther. I appreciate your kind words. How can we help you today?
Well, we have been scammed twice. First time was with the computer, locked it down. You have to push this button. And we're pretty intelligent people, but my husband pushed the button and then the computer was practically destroyed. And we paid $800 to get out of that mess, just shut down everything on the computer. But recently I've been scammed by somebody in Haines City, and I really want to send it out as a warning to everyone else around here.
All right.
I won't use any names.
Yeah, good. Please withhold the names for me just to make it easier for broadcast. Go ahead, Esther.
I'd called a local hardware company, and they couldn't do this vinyl on the lanai windows. So I said, could you recommend somebody? And they recommended somebody. So I assumed that was a good person. And signed him up, and he came out, and he worked, a couple of weeks on adding this vinyl to the windows. But I looked at the invoice didn't have his address on it. I should have dinged my head anyway, but it did not. Because in 20 years here, I've never been scammed in this locked, gated community. It's usually people we know who do the work, whatever. But this time, he didn't use the right thing. The vinyl wasn't even attached to the screens, whatever. But I didn't inspect it because I was recently widowed and I'm living in a fog doing this stuff for a while. And then he took my money and left. And then I started looking at it. The vinyl wasn't even attached to the screens or whatever. I called another handyman and he said, this is horrible and it has to be pulled out and you have to redo it. And I took pictures of it, whatever. And I had to call somebody in to repay this person because I couldn't get the guy back to fix it at all. He wasn't going to come back. He says, nobody's ever called me back. I'm like, it was a horrible, it didn't even work. I had to rip it out.
So you're saying the scam here is that the party kind of held themselves out to be a craftsman of a certain caliber when in fact they were not?
Started looking him up, but I couldn't find him as a registered contractor. I couldn't, I had to search and search and search to find I had to use help to even find his address. I did have his text and, I texted him, please come and redo this or I am going to take action against you. And he didn't care. He's got my money. He's done.
Well, did you make good on your threat? Did you take action?
Not yet, because it was a $1,600 job. And I know that hiring somebody is going to cost me that probably. But I guess I can go to the court and do a small claim.
Yeah, you're under the small claims limit. So I would say at least explore that. And if nothing else, Esther, you could always draft a letter to the party and say, attached is the small claim suit that I'm going to be filing. If you don't comply with my request for resolution amicably within so many days, now, let's say he doesn't respond to that, which is most likely in this scenario, and you go forward, you win, you get a judgment, you can't get blood from a turnip. So at the end of the day, you realize you may wind up holding a judgment that's absolutely worthless. You've won, but it's a bit of a Pyrrhic victory. So I want to point that out to you. A lot of people just get so laser focused on the win that they don't realize sometimes how hollow the win is.
I just want to stop him from doing this to any other senior.
Well, you said he held himself out as a licensed contractor. Is that accurate?
When I called him, he was a man who did this type work. So I didn't ask if he was licensed, insured, or anything. I'm sorry. I'm living in a fog. I'm doing a lot of stuff that I normally would think about. But
well, that goes back to the old adage, buyer beware. I mean, you got to remember to ask those questions. And I guess that's kind of a scam, but that's more just, I think, misleading.
Ripping somebody off.
Yeah. I mean, it's not the scam in the typical way that I'm talking about. You reached out to them. I'm talking about scammers who are reaching out to you like to initiate it. Yeah, but fair enough. It's a different type of scam. Let's go back to the computer scam, though. You said your husband hit one button. What button did he hit?
Well, it says you have to hit this button to be connected to somebody who will help you with your computer, and he's using a big Dell computer. I don't guess I need to use any names. I know that when I have trouble with my computer, I call the reputable company and I just shut it down. And that's what you need to do. But he never asked me. He just did it. And he got in touch with somebody who, oh, yeah, we're going to help you do this and help you do this and help you do this. And next thing you know, his computer was almost inoperable.
Is your husband there now with you?
No, he passed away last year.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Esther.
So, but he realizes what he did after the fact, and then we got a legitimate person to fix the computer, and it cost us money, of course. But don't hit a button when they freeze up your computer. Turn it off.
Well,
and you get on the phone with somebody will help you. And when you plug it back in, they will tell you what to do step by step.
I mean, I'll tell you right now how it works in my family, Esther. And it works this way. So when someone it sounds like your generation has technological difficulties, they reach out to someone in the family of my generation and say, I need help with this. And I think that's a great way to start, especially on things like that. I mean, just reaching out to family. And saying,
sure. And
hey,
he does have a son who, very technical oriented.
Well, there you go. That's an embarrassment of riches then.
He's in the middle of doing his master's and he's doing his papers and his deadlines and everything. So he just wants it done fast and let's go, whatever.
Yeah, I get it. And how many years were you married?
Only 8.5.
Well, that's still something special. 8.5 years is nothing to sneeze at, Esther. So I'm sorry about your loss, by the way. And Esther, thank you for calling in and sharing your cautionary tale. Where would you put that on the scale? Category 1 through 5, your computer scam I'm speaking of. Would you say that's a category 1, 2? Where on the scale do you put that?
Well, is 1 the highest?
You think it's one of the highest? Do you think it's like
No. I think it's being done a lot, and people don't want to talk about it.
This is like our hurricane ranking. So that's why I broke it down. So it's like a category 1's the lowest. Category 5 is, the biggest and the strongest.
It might be a 3. I don't know, but people don't. My husband didn't want to talk about it afterwards at all.
Yeah,
because he didn't want people to know.
Well, he's embarrassed, and that's understandable. No one wants to be scammed, but if you don't talk and tell your story in a way, you're letting the scammer win again because you're not getting your story out there. So you had the bravery to call in and tell that story. So now someone may dodge this scam because Esther from Davenport had the bravery to call in. So we admire your courage, Esther.
Thank you for helping us.
You're welcome. God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, okay?
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. 877-943-9673. It's just as easy as Esther made it look. We were kicked off the show with a discussion of scams and a sort of ranking of them through the traditional hurricane category system 1 through 5, and culminating in category 5s involving artificial intelligence, where these are very scary, where they're capturing voices through social media. Or I also heard this one this week. And, Yumiko, by the way, how many on a daily basis, how many robocalls would you say you get?
Oh, we get probably maybe 5 or 6.
How do you handle them?
I don't answer.
That's no fun at all. So when they call you, that's permission to handle it however you want. If you're having a sort of ho-hum day, entertain yourself with answering the phone because it's a scam call. They called you, have fun with it. But one of the things that they say to do is if you take the call at all, don't use your real voice. Make up a voice because they're trying to capture your voice sometimes with these scam calls. That's the goal. So,
okay, I may try that.
Yeah. So I tell you what, you get a scam call this week. Let's try to time it where you're in the production room.
All right.
And we can record your end of it. We can't record their end, obviously, but we could record how you change your voice as sort of a PSA to all the other listeners out there on, effective ways to modify your voice according to Yumiko as far as avoiding scams.
All right, I'll try that.
Yumiko, I'm excited about this. Great. All right. So there you go. So make sure when you answer those scam calls, a lot of times what I like to do is just let them speak first. And I think that's wise just because, and then you hear the click on and you can hear the call center buzzing in the background and all that sort of stuff. You just hang up at that point. But it's one of those situations where you just have to be extremely vigilant because of the level of scamming that's going on out there. According to CBS News, last year, Americans lost almost $9 billion. That's billion with a B to fraud in 2022. And the theory, according to CBS News, is the introduction of the use of AI imitating family members' voices is only going to lead to an increase in that $9 billion loss due to fraud in 2022. So if you've been a victim of a scam or you have any legal question at all, 877-943-9673. That's your live and local number to be part of today's show. I'm Attorney Patrick Smith. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. 877-943-9673. For those of you wanting the office line, we have a special treat for you actually today. So if you want to call and schedule your appointment, I've actually arranged to have a member of my staff in the office at this very moment, standing by to schedule your appointment. That's right. So all those of you in Sun City Center trying so faithfully to schedule your appointments, we're making a special segment of time available for you to schedule your appointment or for any other office location. I mentioned Sun City Center because of the way the demand is growing by leaps and bounds there. The office number, if you want to call now, standing by, member of our staff named Audrey is ready to answer your call and get you scheduled for your complimentary consultation. That office line, 877-754-6764. Again, the toll-free office line where I have Audrey standing by to schedule your complimentary consultation for Sun City Center, Clearwater, Sarasota, any of our office locations, that toll-free office line, 877-754-6764. Give Audrey a call now. She'll get you on my calendar right away, 877-754-6764. So if you want to be part of today's show, that number, 877-943-9673. Speaking of Sarasota, let's go to Michael in Sarasota. Michael, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Hey, thank you for taking my call. So when I registered my LLC in Sarasota in Florida, I got several soliciting calls every day. And I was traveling a lot, so I would get these calls and I would alter my voice and literally kind of play with them. So one of my alter egos was Stanley Morgan. Yes, I'm a nuclear physicist and a chemist, and sometimes I transport highly explosive materials. And these people would feed into it.
Michael, I love where you went with this. Did you ever just think of screaming at the top of your lungs when you answered the line?
Yeah, a little bit, because the state of Florida sold my number to these solicitors, and so I'm driving for 4 hours, so I'm going to play with you. But instead of screaming it.
Yeah, you've got time to kill, and you're gonna. This is what I was telling you, Yumiko. So Yumiko, from Michael, you can learn that when these people call you, you're missing an opportunity to be happy. So Michael, encourage Yumiko that the next time she gets a scam call, don't throw away this opportunity to have fun.
No, it's fun, and it's like I called it a 3-tiered conversation. So you get one person that calls you, takes in your information. Then you get to the second tier, the next person takes in a little bit more information. Then the third tier, you get to the person who's like actually going to provide you the service or plan and all this. And then I've had people cuss me out for wasting their time. I'm like, well, you called me, so I had fun with it.
So, Michael, I have a question. Do you use this voice all the time, or do you change it up?
No, I have different voices.
Oh, okay.
But I when this one specifically was for like an extended car insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was driving, this is what I told him. I'm driving a 1995 Astro van, and I transport highly explosive materials. Is this going to affect my costs? And no.
No,
And it was fun.
You're good. You're covered. All right, Michael, how many voices do you have in the library?
Oh, I got some characters. I had a recording studio, and we would play and then do prank phone calls. So
Oh my gosh. So you have a recording studio. This is pretty high level commitment, Michael. This is not just, picking up the phone and answering.
Yeah, this was years ago, but we made characters. We all made characters. So like it's fun. Change your voice. It's a lot of fun when these people call you and you change your voice so they can't get I sell highly explosive materials out of my van. Like it's so fun.
Michael,
So
I love how you're making it fun to spoil scammers. So well done, and a great lesson to everyone out there. There's nothing that says spoiling scammers has to be dull and boring. Be like Michael. Have fun while you're doing it. Michael, great call.
It's so fun. Thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely, Michael. Have a great Saturday.
You too.
This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show, 877-943-9673, 877-943-9673. And another one you could do is you could pretend, well, I won't say it. 877-943-9673. That's your live and local line to be part of today's show. Give us a call now. And we are next going to go to St. Pete, and we're going to talk to John. John, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a question. My mother passed away recently.
Oh, John, I'm
my
sorry.
My brother, thank you very much. My two brothers and my sister and I inherited her condo, which we've sold. It was a small one-bedroom condo. And my question is, do I have to claim the money that we sold this condo for on my income taxes?
That's a question for an accountant as far as any income tax and what the applicable step up would be for that. So do you have a good accountant you work with?
No, I do not.
Yeah, give me a call at the
Just
office.
studied short form.
Yeah, I'll give you a couple of different ones that we work with, and they'd be happy. I mean, Dwayne Bischoff's a regular on our show. Of course, we use him all the time. We'll be happy to put you in touch with an accountant who will tell you kind of what the tax exposure is. Are you the personal representative or the administrator for your late mother's estate?
I was.
Okay. Did you have an attorney representing you?
I had an attorney that my mother signed the condo over to us prior to passing away, so it didn't have to go to probate.
Okay, so the condo was signed over to you prior, so there may be some gift tax exposure depending on how it was signed over. I think the short answer for you is go back to your attorney and ask your attorney, since you have a pre-existing attorney-client relationship, and then in addition to that, check with an accountant just on the tax side, hear it directly from the CPA as far as what, if any, tax exposure you have. Because if you're the administrator for the estate, you're accepting personal liability often with regard to the decedent's tax obligation. So you just want that accountant to sort of run that, what they call a 4506T transcript request, I believe, which audits the last 3 years' tax returns, because you don't want the decedent's tax failures and shortcomings to become your problem.
I see. Okay.
All right.
But I could call your office and you can hook me up with somebody.
Yeah, John, give me a call next week. Office will be open Monday morning, 8 a.m. So give us a call and we'll be happy to put you in touch with somebody. Okay.
Thank you so much.
John,
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. Bye-bye. All righty, you're listening to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show, 877-943-9673. Quickly, I want to kind of pivot. We talk about scams, and one of the ways we police scams is with good legislation. Well, we lost a legend this week. We lost Senator Dianne Feinstein, has passed away at the ripe old age of 90, and she's a decorated stateswoman who has had a long and luxurious career going back to 1978 as a lawmaker, involved as a career politician, and she leaves behind her daughter, Catherine Feinstein, who's actually a former judge out in San Francisco, and 3 stepdaughters, Eileen Brigade, Heidi Bloom, and Annette Bloom, and 2 sisters and 7 grandchildren. So rest in peace, Dianne Feinstein. So, and speaking of politics, a lot of you know that my wife and I actually endow Stetson University's program called Model Senate, which is sort of the incubator for tomorrow's legislatures. For those of you not familiar, this is a 3-day long competition where students from all over the country come into town in DeLand, Florida, at my alma mater, Stetson University, to compete and actually portray U.S. senators in open floor debate, committee sessions, congressional hearing settings. And one of those senators is actually joining us now. Welcome to the show, Amy Trask. Amy, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Amy is also not only just a participant, she is the current reigning most outstanding senator from last year's Model Senate. Isn't that right, Amy?
Yes, I was so humbled and excited to win Best Senator.
And this is actually your second appearance on the show because you were on our remote we did live from Model Senate last year, correct?
I was. It was so fun.
Well, then in that case, welcome back to the show. And you have some exciting news to share with the audience. So, Amy, I'll turn the floor over to you and go ahead and let you make your announcement.
Sure. Thank you so much. I am very excited to announce my candidacy for Florida House District 22 with my intention to file on Monday.
So this is Florida House District 22 because a current member of the House, Lois Frankel, is term limited out. Is that correct, Amy?
Yes, but it's Chuck Clemens.
Oh,
is where
excuse me.
we're. Yeah.
All right. So, and you've got some opposition potentially coming from the Republican side, I see, according to Ballotpedia. And so tell me kind of, because, this is exciting for us, our vision for Model Senate. Like I said, I described it recently when I was being interviewed for Model Senate promotional materials. I described it as the incubator for democracy. And of course, our vision was that one day it will start producing politicians. Now we're only 2 years into our sponsorship, and here you are announcing your candidacy, Amy. So speak a little bit to kind of what led to your decision to run for public office.
Absolutely. So I have 2 young boys, and I was seeing the impacts, both positive and negative, of the legislation that was being made and how it was affecting them and the kids in our communities. And then simultaneously, I was participating in Model Senate. And in Model Senate, everything that I had been learning up to that point really allowed me the chance to put it into action and to hone that skill and hone that craft. So I was able to learn how to effectively use my voice and work bipartisanly to amend and write legislation. And it really kind of turned a point for me. So I'm really excited to jump into this race and do the best that I can to bring some positive change for all of the kids in our communities.
All righty, Amy. So top 3 issues that are facing Floridians that need immediate resolution in the opinion of Amy Trask.
Sure. Education is number 1. Housing is another one. And then making sure that we can all get on board together for gun safety and women's rights. So making sure that we can work together to find some solutions.
I think we all can get on board with all those goals, Amy, that you share. Can I ask a somewhat personal question?
Sure.
Does your cousin know you're running for office?
No.
Not
yet.
Do you intend to use your cousin in any of your campaigning?
I don't know yet. I don't think so. I'm doing this for kids in our communities, and I'm doing this because, I want to step up and make sure that I can be a voice for them.
Mm-hmm.
But we are very excited. My grandfather was a Florida senator in the 70s. And so we are hoping to talk to members of all of the communities, including the one he was a senator for, and bring them into the conversation.
Do you mind telling everyone who your cousin is?
Well, he plays football. We'll say that.
There you go. For those of you who know that last name, you can probably connect the dots. Amy, you always have a friend in the Attorney Patrick Smith Show, so stay in touch. Happy campaigning and good luck.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me.
Absolutely, Amy. Have a great day. All righty. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. That was soon-to-be candidate for House District 22, Amy Trask, who said she'll be filing the paperwork on Monday. And that just makes my heart so full, because that is everything that my wife and I shared as far as vision when we sponsored Model Senate, is that this is sort of that breeding ground of tomorrow's legislators and giving kids the chance to get their hands dirty in a sort of safer environment without any real world consequences and hone their craft so that they can go out and become the Amy's of the world who say, hey, I want to do this for real and I want to make a difference in people's lives for real. I practice in Model Senate and I'm ready to hone my craft, and I'm ready to put it to work in the real world. And Amy's goals of education and housing, and firearm safety, all great goals that I think everyone can get behind. So 877-943-9673 if you want to be part of today's show. Again, thank you to Amy for calling in. 877-943-9673. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I'm Attorney Patrick Smith. Next, we are going to go to Sarasota, and we're going to talk to Carrie. Carrie, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Hey, how you doing?
Great, Carrie. How can we help?
So yeah, I actually got scammed this year. On one occasion, I almost fell for it the second time, but this goes to computers. I've had Facebook probably for like about 9 or 10 years, and I had the first time my account got locked up, I was able to resolve it pretty quickly, and then I actually called the phone number on when I actually clicked on the area on Facebook to try to resolve it. There was a phone number for Facebook. I mean, that's how far into it they go. They actually mimicked Facebook by clicking on a desktop button within Facebook.
Well, and this is almost like a category 3 or a category 4, because it's getting very specific to you. It's not quite harvesting voices of people yet, but it's intensely specific if it's logging into your Facebook account.
Right, but they actually mimicked somehow Facebook. Like, and when you clicked on it, it brought their page up. So I mean, they're integrated into the actual system. I mean, I've completely taken myself off social media because of this. I mean, they literally locked up everything that I had.
And you're not the only one. I think a lot of people, especially the older generation, are running away. I mean, there was sort of a flood into social media, and now with all the AI and the fear about it, I think there's an exodus out of social media. So, Carrie, if you don't mind sharing, how old are you?
I'm 49.
Okay. So you're still a younger guy by all means, but
yeah,
it's a great point. And I think it's definitely going to be a trend for a lot of Americans, especially as AI continues to play a role in this. And now you said you were successfully scammed the first time. You weren't successfully scammed. What made it unsuccessful on the second attempt?
Well, they started sending me messages through Messenger because it's all linked. I mean, there's a lot of sites that are linked, and they made me believe, if I went ahead and bought a card through PayPal, and that they basically requested for me to purchase a gift card, and I had heard about that scam. So after being on the phone with them, I was just getting the feeling that something wasn't right. But they were requesting, the first time they were requesting huge amounts of money to get my account back. I mean, as much as $8,000 for me to pay them, if I wanted to get all the social media. And it sucks because, you put up a lot of photos over the years and stuff, and, they basically capture all that. So
yeah.
you basically lose all that content. And, we use some of that stuff for business as well, and, cross-referenced it. So, it was a hard decision that, to completely take yourself off that. But, after being scammed several, or them taking over the account several times, it was just like, it's just not worth it.
Well, Carrie, I'm with you. And if it weren't for the law practice, and the radio show, I probably wouldn't have social media at all. But they're just necessary evils in this world. When you're running a law practice and hosting a radio show, you got to have them. Otherwise, I'm with you 100%, Carrie, and I would just not have any of them. I dream of the day when I no longer need a cell phone and don't have to have any sort of tether to anyone other than anyone I want to choose to be with. So anyway, Carrie, appreciate you calling in. Great call. Thanks for sharing your cautionary tales.
Yeah, I did want to tell you one other thing, though. My wife, she does the same thing that other guy does. I mean, whenever somebody calls on the telephone, which she answers the phone calls for our business. So, I mean, it's unbelievable how many phone calls she takes on a daily basis, which are robocalls or scammers. But she sits there, I mean, especially if she's driving, I mean, her record's keeping somebody on the phone for 35 minutes.
I like that she has a record, and I like that she's a goal setter. And I can already tell you picked a winner, Carrie. You picked a winner, because anyone who's having that much fun with, I mean, if life gives you lemons, make lemonade. And it sounds like your wife's doing that. And by the way, for all those of you listening, if you've been a victim of a scam or you see a scam sort of in the making, to report it to our Attorney General, Ashley Moody, there's a toll-free line. It's 1-866-9-NO-SCAM. 1-866-9-NO-SCAM. You can report it directly to the state's Attorney General, Ashley Moody's office. So, Carrie, did you report any of those scammers to the Attorney General?
No, I haven't. One time I tried calling the FBI on a phone call scam, and I didn't have any luck getting through. But, I think that just, taking those phone calls and wasting their time, that's, Becky says, it's one more person that they're not going to be able to scam if I'm sitting there wasting their time. And it really gets their goat. They get pissed off about it.
Yeah. Well, hey, we appreciate you calling in. Carrie, enjoy the rest of your Saturday, okay?
Yeah, thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. 877-943-9673. 877-943-9673. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith. And for those of you who just heard that comment, I'll repeat it again. If you know of the scam that's going on, or someone's attempting to scam you or has scammed you, and you want to report it directly to our state's Attorney General, Ashley Moody, you can do so by calling the toll-free number her office has established, 1-866-9-NO-SCAM. 1-866-9-NO-SCAM. So again, that toll-free number to report any scamming activity. To be part of today's show, 877-943-9673, 877-943-9673. And again, for those of you who want to schedule your complimentary consultation to accommodate all the demand, we've actually made my assistant Audrey available. She's actually standing by now to answer your calls to the office line on this Saturday morning to get you scheduled for your complimentary consultation with yours truly, Attorney Patrick Smith. That office line, if you want to call Audrey now to get on the calendar, 877-754-6764, 877-754-6764. So give Audrey a call, get on the calendar, and we'll be happy to meet with you live in person. All right, let's go to a very patient Jane in St. Pete. Jane, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Good morning, Patrick.
Good morning, Jane.
I think it's a wonderful thing. I think this is one of the greatest things since the round wheel that they had this model Senate. And in my view, with all the craziness going on in the political world and candidates and everything, I think anybody that's applying for anything should go through the model Senate and compete just like athletes have to try out.
Well,
for a position. I mean, I'm serious. This is a wonderful thing.
Well, Jane, first of all,
is.
I appreciate your kind words. Thank you. That means the world to us. And just so you know, in private conversation with sort of the powers that be at Stetson University and the planning committee, we have some very big goals. I'm not going to share them now on the air, but we have some very large goals for Model Senate. And you may be, prognosticating the future more accurately than you realize, Jane, but I appreciate you saying that. Thank you very much. You have a question for us today?
Well, wait a minute. I heard this, but I just had one simple question. No, that you might be able to help me with. I was guardian for a person for many years that got better. And so they didn't need a guardian, but I am the POA and health surrogate for this person. And from what I can understand, the health surrogate actually supersedes the guardianship if there's an serious issue with the health. But I have some people, from what I can understand, this has been going on for quite a few years that I've had this position. And there are people trying to just take over, ignore my legal advocacy, and just take over the person's finances and payee and everything. And I do believe, unless things have changed, that my power of attorney still stands unless somebody legally challenges it and it's removed by the courts. Would you be able to verify that, Patrick?
Well, do you currently have counsel representing
me?
Yeah, then I could definitely.
I am the legal advocate for this person, and somebody's just taking it upon themselves to take over. They're going to be the payee. I did call Social Security and explain what was going on, and they have blocked any attempts from anybody else other than me. But you're a very smart man, but. Sometimes these things get lost in the shuffle, but I haven't had any challenges. I've been doing this for quite a long time, and I don't think it's feasible for anybody to just take over a client who has a POA and a health surrogate in good standing
Yeah, Jane, I would
It's
say just get
that
me.
they have to challenge it legally.
Yeah, get me a copy of the document and I'll take a look at it with you. We'll give you a complimentary review. And like I said to everyone else, Audrey's at the office now. So if you want to schedule your appointment now, she's actually there standing by to schedule calls live during the show. I'll give out the office line as soon as we hang up, but I need to see the document. Without putting eyes on the page, I obviously can't speak to the validity or the correctness of what's being done by you or any third parties.
Word. It's a unique. It was written quite a while ago.
All right.
And it not only usually the power of attorney does not exist after the person's death, but this one is well written by a very, very competent attorney, Florida attorney, and it even takes care of things even after the person dies.
Okay.
That
Well,
might sound
just
a little
give us a call at the office, and I'll give out that office line as soon as we hang up. And Jane, we appreciate you calling in.
Thank you so much,
All
and
right.
for everything you do, Patrick.
God bless you, Jane.
And
Thank you
your
again for your
staff.
kind words. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
877-943. Jane hanging up does open up a line if you're trying to get in. 877-943-9673. I'm attorney Patrick Smith. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. And again, that number, if you want to call Audrey now and schedule your complimentary consultation, she's there at the office and ready, standing by to schedule your complimentary consultation with yours truly, Attorney Patrick Smith, in the Sun City Center office, the Clearwater office, the Sarasota office, or any other office locations. Again, that toll-free number to schedule your complimentary consultation, or if you wanted to book us to come out and speak to your club or group, that's also the line. 877-754-6764. 877-754-6764. That's the toll-free office line. I did have a young lady call this week to book me for a speaking engagement. She wanted to know if there's a charge for my speaking services. Absolutely not. We do not charge anything when we come out to give a presentation to your club or group. So again, that number to schedule your consultation at my office or to book us to come and speak to your club or group, absolutely free. 877-754-6764. And again, Audrey standing by to get you scheduled. All right, next, let's go to a very patient Joan in Sarasota. Joan, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Good morning. Hi. I purchased a brand new 2021 car. I won't mention the manufacturer. And I don't want any liability for you for me being on the air.
Well, I appreciate your consideration. Thank you, Joan.
My pleasure. And this is my 6th battery. And I already have a new transmission head anyway. So I contacted another law firm, and they said I had just missed the lemon law deadline.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm told, though, that you can still sue through a secondary lemon law. Is that right? Like through the manufacturer?
Yeah, I don't do lemon law cases. The attorney I use for did you actually hire the attorney you spoke with, or you just called up and were shopping around?
I'm shopping around. I didn't sign a contract with them.
Yeah, I would give. I mean, I've got other attorneys I can give you recommendations to. So what I want you to do is call me at the office next week and go ahead and leave a message, and I'll get back with you, and I'll call you with a couple different attorneys who will talk to you and kind of give you their opinions. Don't tell those attorneys what the first attorney you consulted with said, and that way you know their opinions are independent. And if they all come up with the same opinion, then you know that's the best way to go. But I would say just give the office a call on Monday. We'll get you in touch with a couple of attorneys who can give you a second opinion consultation and go from there.
I love it. Okay. Thanks so much.
All right, Joan, keep us posted. Let us know how it turns out, okay?
Sounds great. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We did mention turning lemons into lemonade, and then, of course, we get a lemon law question. 877-943-9673. Quickly, let's go to my hometown of Winter Haven, and let's talk to Michelle. Michelle, how's Winter Haven this morning?
It's good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. How can I help?
Yes, sir. I had 2 quick questions this morning, hopefully. The first one would be, I know if you have like car insurance and you have your teenagers on there, or even yourself, as there's a lot of traffic on the road today, to be adequately covered, would you say that to protect yourself, do you need to up your coverage for your car insurance, or would it be better to get a trust? That way you can't be sued.
Well,
because I'm confused on that part.
Well, so here's the thing. Number one, I'm not a financial advisor and I'm not an insurance salesman. So I think I say that to say this: you should consult with both of those individuals that you employ for your family, your financial advisor and your insurance salesman, and get their input from a legal perspective. And just personally, I'm a big fan of insurance. I'm a big fan of being maxed out on your home and auto and having a good umbrella policy over and above that with an uninsured, underinsured rider in case someone hurts you and they don't have enough insurance. But this is a conversation you would really have with that triumvirate committee, your insurance salesman, your financial advisor, and your attorney, all sort of in Congress speaking to this to optimize your family's protection. There are asset protection trusts you can do, but those may or may not be applicable. That would require a more financially intimate conversation than we want to get into on the air here, Michelle. So if you want to give the office a call next week, I'll be happy to give you that complimentary consultation and cover the legal side of it. But you definitely want to get with your insurance salesman as well as your financial advisor.
Okay. And can I ask one more question?
Yeah, I've got about a minute, so it's going to be quick.
Okay. Okay. I was just wondering, like my dad is an older gentleman, and so we are listed on his account as a beneficiary. But if he ever became like ill where he wasn't able to write checks or anything out of his account to pay the bills, can we get to his account being a beneficiary, or does somebody have to be a POA?
So beneficiary usually pays only on death. So it's not going to give you access during any period of incapacitation. The most common methodologies there are either a power of attorney document or some sort of simple living trust that would give you a successor trustee access. But again, that would have to be initiated by that gentleman. It's not something you can secure for him. Otherwise, it starts to look like undue influence.
Right. Yeah,
All
I
right.
understand that. We just want to make sure of that part. So,
Michelle, thanks for calling in. Take care of Winter Haven for me, okay?
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. Miko, by the way, let the other caller know to hold. I'll talk to him off the air. I'll just go ahead and start the wrap up of the show. So for those of you who want to call Audrey at the office and schedule your complimentary consultation, that office line, 877-754-6764. Again, Audrey's standing by right now to schedule your complimentary consultation in Sun City Center, Clearwater, Sarasota, any other office locations, 877-754-6764. Email me directly, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. My Gators prediction, of course, will predict a close one. We'll say Florida 42, Kentucky 35. And that's our prediction for this week. Everybody stay safe. God bless, and go Gators.
The preceding was sponsored by the law offices of Patrick L. Smith, W282CI Tampa, W271CY Lakeland, W262CP Bayonet Point.
Online at letstalkfaith.com or listen on TuneIn and Odyssey.
Are God's holy days a part of your faith walk? The Feast of the Tabernacles is running now through October 6th.
This is such a joyous time of the year because it represents God's beauty and bounty, all that Father God has done for us.
Discover the Jewish Jesus with a free download of God's 7 Holy Days and also receive a link to the fascinating God's Holy Days video series.
Get access to it all right now by going to letstalkfaith.com and clicking on the Discovering Jewish Jesus banner.
Bill Bunkley here. Attention all pastors. I'm inviting